I would say this is maybe, for me, it's one of the most technical courses I've done.
Sur le coup, il y a bien des moments où on se dit qu'est-ce que je fous là. Avec du recul, on se dit qu'on a vécu une aventure extraordinaire.
J'aimerais m'allonger par terre, fermer les yeux et dormir.
The ride in France, we've been really quite touched. It's been really special. But I would never do it myself. But when you're racing together with a good team, you manage to achieve things that you think is impossible. Go on and on for days and days with almost no sleep, and it's distance and altitude that's totally crazy.
What we need to achieve in that transition and what needs to go into our bags, what needs to come out of them, and what we're going to do regarding rest and what we're going to do regarding food.
Raid in France is perpetuating the vein of the discipline pioneers, thanks to a minimalist race spirit. A team of 4 with at least one woman linking point A to point B by navigating without GPS in a non-stop expedition in as little time as possible, in total autonomy and progressing using non-motorized sports. Maps and roadbook are distributed at departure, a return close to nature, which attracts many sportsmen and creates something special in the French raid environment. Point A, 14th of September 2012, above L'Argentière-la-Bessée in the Écrins Highlands at the foot of Pelvoux in Elfward. Raid in France joined the World Series of Adventure Races in 2007. This group, Adventure Racing World Series, brings together 12 races spread worldwide. This year, Raid in France is the world final of those ARWS races. It has gathered the best racers and teams from all over the world, 64 teams with competitors from 23 different countries. The race begins following an order obtained the day before. A score challenge orienteering prologue initiates the competition. In 45 minutes, the competitors had to tag all of the markers placed in L'Argentière-la-Bessée village. The French team Raid Light came first, in front of the Swedish team Silva, recent winners of the Apex race in Switzerland. Seagate, third in the 2011 World Championships, finished right after them, followed by the Spanish team Columbia Viva Raid. The reigning world champions, too, didn't come off too badly in getting 7th place.
Pendant 2 jours, il y a eu beaucoup de vent en montagne, beaucoup de neige. Et les parois sont pas praticables, donc on a été obligé de prendre la décision hier soir assez tard de ne pas faire passer les équipes sur un des 2 cols, donc ça modifie pas mal l'organisation.
On arrive à la première balise, ça a bien marché, on a un paysage grandiose.
Là, vous pouvez regarder, vous êtes au col du Célé, et tout ce qui est en bas, c'est l'itinéraire par lequel vous deviez monter. Et avec les chutes de neige qu'on va avoir, tout a été bien placé en bas. On n'a pas pu bien passer.
profiter de la haute montagne parce qu'on n'en fait pas tous les jours quoi, pendant les raids. Donc c'est génial. C'est génial. Le temps est magnifique en plus. Bonheur. Bonheur.
Increíble, qué bestia, qué vista, qué lugar, a lo bestia. Hermoso. Valió la pena la cuesta.
The teams are making progress orienteering. Markers define the course, and competitors need to find their positions by interpreting the supplied 1/50,000th scale maps. Any GPS is prohibited. The teams must tag every marker. If they miss one out, it's immediate disqualification. A mountain bike link leads to Les Clos to begin a new hiking section leading to Fréjus Pass at 2,380 meters altitude.
Oh, just came around the corner and washed out on my bike and maybe twisted my ankle a little bit, giving it a second to work out.
So we are trying to find out how bad it was. So
he's on the doctor now.
And we are not on good mood right now.
Allez-y, allez-y.
This is what I imagined when I thought of the Alps. It's my first time here, and I just love all the different grasses growing and the rocks, the sheer cliffs, the goats down there, the little villages, the water taps. This is awesome. I love it.
"20 hours into the race, Nathan Fave and his team Seagate are the first to check in at the end of the hiking section. 16 minutes later, Quechua arrives. And 7 minutes behind the French team, the title holders, Tulle. They begin a new biking section heading for La Roche de Rame, before one of the big challenges of the week, a hiking section composed of more than 40 kilometers and 2,840 meters upward change in altitude in the Queyras Regional Natural Park.
Il y a des grosses équipes, alors si on veut rester devant avec eux, il faut pousser un peu plus fort pour des petits raids qu'on fait. Donne-moi un peu dans le rouge.
The route is defined by mandatory crossing points, which are either marked by some checkpoints to tag, or where officials will tick off the visit of each team. The first night, after this mountain biking section, every team has made the choice to move on to the next hiking portion leading to Chateau Queyras. From there, they will embark as quickly as possible on the rafting section, trying to avoid the cutoff. At night, this river is closed to navigation. Throughout the 475 kilometers of the course, unannounced equipment inspections are carried out. They can be held at any time, day or night, and anywhere. Every team needs to carry some mandatory equipment, in accordance with the race rules.
What do you want to say?
This is to make things fair, but above all, safe for the competitors.
Yeah.
On leur demande une vérification de matériel, donc 4 duvets, puisqu'ils sont un duvet chacun, et la tente, qui sont un matériel obligatoire. Et on vérifie qu'ils les ont bien.
This equipment can be used in case of physical injury or in case of bad weather and must be kept handy. Any offenders will immediately receive a time penalty.
Je ne peux même pas t'imaginer le nombre de fois que j'ai rêvé ma couette, mon oreiller, avoir chaud dedans, enfin être dans un lit.
Des choses que tu trouvais dures avant ou chiantes ou longues, que tu te dis finalement c'est pas si long que ça. Parce que là un trek de je sais même pas combien c'est, 14 heures, 15 heures.
Sur le coup, il y a bien des moments où on se dit qu'est-ce que je fous là. Mais avec du recul, on se dit qu'on a vécu une aventure extraordinaire. Et puis des fois on signe derrière, alors que il y a un paquet de fois à la fin de ces courses-là, je me suis dit plus jamais ça.
Ça va, c'est vraiment peut-être le deuxième jour. Je commence à être bien dans le rythme.
It's been a long night. We're pleased to see the sun come up. We'll be very happy to get to the end of this trek, I think. The feet are a bit sore and the body's a bit weary. So.
A long way behind, some teams are showing signs of exhaustion. After a whole night hiking, the competitors arrive on the Gil riverbanks at Château-Queyras. To get to the beginning of the rafting section, teams negotiate a via ferrata and a water walk in the Gil riverbed.
Good, let's rest. We don't want to get stuck in dark zone.
rafting section is a very technical time for the teams. This well-known river of the Hautes-Alpes offers several evocative names for its rapids: Millennium, Triple Fall, the Grid.
C'est une difficulté très élevée, une rivière de classe 4. Il y a juste le niveau d'eau qu'il faut, un niveau d'eau idéal, mais la rivière reste toujours très difficile et c'est très impressionnant. Bon, les équipes passent bien, mais c'est une rivière très difficile.
The competitors begin a 6-kilometer hiking section to avoid an impassable gorge and then get back into the kayaking leg. In double-seater canoes, the participants will paddle on the Guil and Durance for 21 kilometers, in particular going through the famous Rabiou wave. 20 minutes after Seagate, one of two's canoes has difficulty with a wave and flips their boat, a refreshing and harmless fall. Seagate reaches Embrun, the first assistance point, at 6:30 p.m. On this checkpoint, where 4 hours of rest are mandatory, the teams will find their containers filled with food and equipment required for the upcoming sections. Tulle arrives half an hour later. Quechua, third at this point, make a big effort. With one of the best times for the section, they show up at the checkpoint 7 minutes before navigation closing time.
Trop chaud, on ne sait pas être là ce soir. On pensait être sur la rive. Oh putain!
Alors on n'y croyait pas. C'est que juste au CP là-bas, on s'est dit merde. On avait fait du canot là-dessus, on s'est dit, on avait mis 50 minutes pour te rendre au bout du lac, on s'est dit, c'est possible.
Bravo les!
Elle a dit.
Allez, avance le bateau.
Je me suis dit, mais ça peut faire. J'ai regardé les câbles, j'ai dit, mais non, mais on met beaucoup moins de temps que prévu. Et du coup, on a accéléré comme des malades.
Quechua can keep the two leaders in check. All three will get back on the course after 4 hours of rest. All the other teams on Durance River must stop navigating at 8 p.m. and wait until 6:45 a.m. to resume their progress. This rest is welcomed happily by most of the teams, but allows the leaders to break away. Silver and Raid-like Canoe Evasion will spend the night on the bank near the Rabiou Rapids. Perhaps a blessing in disguise. Recovering more may enable them to carry on the race in better shape.
Dans le matériel obligatoire, il y a une chose qui est vraiment essentielle, c'est le briquet.
Tomorrow, the stragglers will keep going on this kayaking section, while the leaders will carry on tonight on a 4-kilometer hike and 59-kilometer mountain biking section of 2,300 meters vertical gain. Expected time for the section, minimum 8 hours. In the small hours, we find Seagate again, approaching Sagne Lake.
It was not too bad. We made a bit of a mistake
leaving the transition on the hike and lost some time. I did not, well, it was a little bit of poor navigation. I also did not see the insert on the map, so so it's a little bit disappointing, but no big disasters.
Setting out from Assistance 1 in the evening, Seagate, New Zealand, conclude the section in 9 hours. The New Zealanders set off again after taking time to repair Sophie's broken bike pedal.
Taking a few pictures. It's always good to have a few pictures. I'll give one of you too.
An hour and 15 minutes later, two are all up at the lake, again second after a difficult night. After 25 minutes spent in dismantling and repacking the mountain bikes in their boxes, the Swedish team set out again.
So you want to keep a good speed to reach the finish line, and we want to win, so we need to keep the pace.
In the early morning, we learn of the withdrawal of Sweco, Littoral Adventure and Bratlupin, whose American team member fractured his fibula. At the same time, but 5 sections and 100 kilometers further, we find a large number of teams again, just about to get onto the rafting section.
Devant, ça va quand même très vite et voilà, c'est assez impressionnant puisque les timings qu'on avait mis, c'était quand même des timings pour nous qui étaient des choses pas inaccessibles mais qui étaient quand même compliquées. Et pour l'instant, je crois qu'ils sont passés avec 4 minutes de retard sur le timing qu'on avait fait à Josier.
Ça a l'air tranquille, mais ça va s'accélérer derrière. En termes d'exigence de navigation, ça veut dire qu'il faut bien lire la rivière, chercher les passes qui vont être les plus libres possibles. L'idée est de rester équitable dans la répartition, enfin dans les consignes données aux équipes, mais c'est de s'assurer qu'elles ont bien été comprises. Pas tout le monde a le même message, parfois on le répète un peu.
Là, je pense que ça va être vraiment la limite de l'information qu'on a reçue.
24 hours behind the lead, after a rest taken by most of the teams, they must get into the water. In the evening, we leave the Keras Mountains to go back to the leading teams. Silva, in 4th place, is climbing the Sanguinière Pass in the Mercantour Mountains.
Today I enjoy it. It's a beautiful trekking.
Yeah, I think the biking was a bit difficult. We had some problems, but this one is quite easy. It's all on trails, so just to find the right one. But on the biking there were some more trails than on the map. That makes it difficult.
The front trio keep a quick pace. Setting out after them, the two teams Silva and Raid-like Canoe Evasion, respectively 4th and 5th, side by side, are 8 hours behind the leading pack. we leave the Sanguier Pass, heading for the Papillon Pass. A 20 kilometers long regional path connects Amboiney and Ubaye valleys. The 520 meter long tunnel goes under the pass. The third night generates a few changes in the chasing group behind Seagate, who are still leading the race. At their own pace, but still racing, Agde Raid Adventure Sirpeo comes up to the Papillon Pass. Team 31 enters the Alpes de Haute-Provence. "20 kilometers ahead, we find some middle-ranked teams making preparations before the Lac de Sagne sections.
Les premiers ont passé hier matin à 7h53. Et là, tu vois, il y a plus d'une journée, presque une journée et demie. Voilà.
Since the start of Raid in France 2012, difficulties and the demanding features of most sections enable most teams to make an assessment halfway through the race, remaining focused for the upcoming sections.
Ça veut dire un cran plus loin que ce qu'on a pu rencontrer au fil des années sur beaucoup de choses. On n'avait jamais fait du raft comme ça, on n'avait jamais fait... Enfin jamais, on a rarement évolué dans des paysages si grandioses sur des treks et de manière démultipliée, quoi. Chaque jour on se retrouve à balayer des terrains et des trucs qui sont à la fois variés et puis grandioses.
La noche estuvo bastante fría porque subimos ahí con la bicicleta a 2.700 metros. Pasamos por un túnel y hacía mucho viento, pero la verdad es que fuimos bastante bien y yo creo que nos ha ido bastante bien.
Since its origin, Raid in France has a trademark, giving to as many competitors as possible the opportunity of finishing the race and of making the most of their time, no matter how they rank. To this end, time barriers and special routes enable the slowest teams to reach the end before final time is up. In this way, every team can experience fully the diversity of the land.
Même si c'est pour nous très très compliqué à gérer cette année, parce qu'il y a vraiment des différences importantes entre les premiers et les dernières équipes. Et donc du coup, on a une course qui est quand même très très étalée.
We continue our way up to the leading teams. A mountain biking section leads the teams to Assistance 2 in Guillaume in the Haute-Vallée du Var. The arrival in Guillaume caused some teams navigational issues. The New Zealanders passed through during the night with their lamps on at 2:30 a.m. Behind them, the ranking has changed. Raid Light Canoe Evasion was catching up on Thule, the Franco-Swedish team, and at Assistance 2, they were ahead of them by a few minutes.
Nuit de rêve, enfin, au sens propre, parce qu'on a quand même bien bavé, un peu comme toutes les équipes.
Mais c'est vrai que là-haut c'était ambiance dans les ravines, etc. Il fallait vraiment faire attention et puis vraiment bien vérifier l'azimut et tout ce qui va avec, quoi. C'était sympa, moi j'aime bien.
Gonfler à bloc, comme si on est bien conscient que c'est loin d'être fini et que les équipes peuvent à côté de nous ont un potentiel physique un peu supérieur.
C'est un mélange d'émotions bizarres entre la fatigue, effectivement l'excitation et la peur aussi de savoir si on va aller au bout.
Early on the fourth day, Seagate is in the lead with 5 hours 31 minutes advance on Raid Light Canoe Evasion. Thule is 6 minutes behind. Quechua and Silver side by side are 30 minutes down.
Ben là, les compteurs sont remis à zéro.
Ah, il reste 45 heures ou 50 heures de course, rien n'est joué, enfin, ça peut...
Dans la dernière rivière, on a perdu 5 heures en 2 km, un truc comme ça.
Quechua struggled during the night due to Bill's broken wheel and a few orienteering mistakes on some tricky markers.
Pas mal d'erreurs en orientation. On arrivait sur une section assez ardue de nuit en VTT. Il y avait pas mal de portages et du coup on devait être dans un faux rythme. Et on a vu deux équipes nous revenir dessus. Donc mais bon.
Only relief for Quechua, this morning at the Pont de la Mariée campsite, they were lent a bike wheel.
Josefina's pedal broke, Robert's chain broke, and Björn got a puncture. So it was, quite much problem that delayed us during the night.
Le fait que Red Light soit repassé devant, ça remet quand même beaucoup de piquant dans la course. Bon, ça montre aussi que les grosses équipes ne sont pas infaillibles.
After Assistance 2 and the 4 mandatory rest hours, the teams step into Clou d'Amen Canyon. After 2 kilometers descent, the competitors reach the Gorge de Daluy cliffs. A succession of abseils, with one longer than 100 meters, drop the teams into the Var riverbed. The Daluy gorges have been hollowed out by the river, its remarkable mud rock.
That was fun. It was a very nice canyon. That was fun. So it's a bit hard to go in the canyon, but it was fun. It was a fun break from just walking.
I think France is the perfect country for adventure sports.
A hiking junction in the Var riverbed led the competitors to Durandi Bridge, where they will hop into canoes. In late evening of the fourth day, Seagate still outdistances the other teams by 4 hours. They are paddling on the Var River below the citadel d'Entrevaux.
It's chocolate from New Zealand.
Thank you. My foot!
Can I put that in the boat?
Seagate leaves CP19 with one aim: finish the paddle before nightfall and move straight away into the hiking section that will lead them to Tours-sur-Tinée. If all is well, they should reach Madone de Fenestre with their bikes in the early morning. After a permitted night navigation on the morning of the fifth day, Berghaus Accom Nutrend, the Czech team, are getting ready for a hike.
The maps are not easy and there are some problems sometimes too, but the conditions are the same for everyone. So.
Let's go back up to Saint-Martin-de-Vésubie to get to Madone de Fenestre Sanctuary, located at 1,904 meters and overlooked by Montgelat at 3,143 meters.
Alors Pierre, vous suivez la course?
Je suis la course.
En tant que connaisseur, en tant que même vous raider, en tant que...
Non, pas des grands raids comme ça, mais
Ouais.
par contre oui, je fais pas mal de rando, de marche, ski de rando l'hiver.
Ouais.
Voilà. Mais j'ai jamais fait ce genre de choses, mais bon, faudrait que je me rentraîne un peu, quoi. Un peu beaucoup même. On est dans ce qu'on appelle le sanctuaire de la Madone de Fenestre, qui est un lieu très très ancien, qui se situait sur la... Bon, il y avait une voie romaine et la route du sel. Donc en fait, ils amenaient le sel de la Méditerranée dans le Piémont et ramenaient du Piémont le riz pour nourrir ici.
Madone de Fenestre is a pilgrimage site located on a 250 square meter area owned by the Vatican.
Pas l'habitude de tourner.
Il est là, Olivier?
Ouais, il est arrivé.
Bravo! New passport, please!
100 hours into the race for every team, Seagate is unrelenting and keeping a fast pace. Leading by 5 hours, they now take time managing their race and trying to avoid any mistakes.
They said something! Et la baguette!
Yep.
Pepped up, the team now launch into the Vallée des Merveilles, a genuine treasure of history located at 2,000 meters. 36,000 prehistorical rock paintings and engravings are spread over 15 kilometers in the area of Montbéliard.
In time for a trek. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Raid in France also involves volunteer teamwork. They all live their race their own way.
C'est une vraie aventure pour nous aussi.
Oui, oui. C'est aussi une aventure pour nous, c'est vrai.
Une aventure, des rencontres.
On vit notre raid aussi.
D'une autre façon.
Voilà. De l'autre côté du miroir, mais en même temps...
c'est aussi
très
intéressant.
Très intéressant de le vivre de ce côté-là.
Bah, je te prends ça aussi alors. Et moi je prends le comme ça.
You can order the Coke.
Below Madone de Fenestre, Saint-Martin-Vésubie is the first village crossed by the teams. The village bakery is going to make its annual turnover. After Seagate, two will load up with supplies and sweets. Probably for every team, this food was the stuff of dreams over the last 4 days.
Yeah, it's been a good day, I think. Nice bike ride. And now just up and yeah, it's less than a day left of the race, which feels good.
Je pense que, à moins qu'ils aient une grosse galère, nous on va pas se mettre à courir comme des gazelles. Donc la première place dure. La deuxième, on est bien parti pour pas qu'on craque sur le trek.
I think we can make it to the finish line. Before Silva.
It feels like that's nothing, but it's really important to stay together for the whole finish of the race. So we'll try to be tactical and not push too hard.
On sait pas du tout ce qui se passe derrière. Nous on se voit, on se côtoie ici les groupes. Mais il y a peut-être des super bonnes équipes derrière.
Une petite pensée à notre Lolo là, une carte de montagne.
Dans le lever de soleil qu'on a vu, c'était là.
Parce que c'était un guide, c'était son territoire. Donc quand on arrivait ici, c'était lui qui dirigeait les troupes.
A little bit ill myself, but managing to cope all right. It's it's something to do with the altitude is definitely affecting us, and it's hitting Nathan pretty hard. But we've just got to keep on going.
While Seagate have stuck with the minimum time predicted for each section since the start, they now appear fairly tired by taking 2 hours more than the predicted time for the hiking in the Vallée des Merveilles. After an equipment check presenting no particular problem, the team opts for an hour's rest.
C'est dur, là c'est la reprise, là, ils se sont arrêtés pendant une petite demi-heure pour récupérer. Il faut vraiment se botter le cul comme on dit pour se lever et remettre les fesses sur le vélo et pour repartir. Parce que là c'est quand même très dur, l'envie de dormir passe des fois au-dessus de la motivation de gagner une course, quoi.
During the night, the leading quartet plunge towards the Mediterranean Sea and the final ranking becomes clear. To reach the finish line in Roquebrune-Cap-Martin, Seagate will have to go through 58 kilometres of mountain biking, with a downhill slope the dominant feature, 2 kilometres of hiking and 5 kilometres of kayaking. This 6th day of the race, without a doubt, will be the longest.
Where country do you come from?
New Zealand.
New Zealand? Oh, great!
Yeah, it's great.
Good to you. Welcome in France.
Thank you.
During the night, the leading pack, composed of 4 teams, will pass through Authion without any rank or time difference changes. In the early morning, Raid Light gets out of the fog. The night was tough and the team is paying for their good comeback. They are now in 5th place and 4 hours behind Quechua. They go quickly on to the last mountain biking section down toward the sea.
Voilà, quand on fait le Rallye de France, qu'il faut s'attendre à des trucs vraiment aventure et même des fois des choses vraiment engagées, quoi. C'est ce qui nous plaît aussi, donc voilà.
C'est plein d'énigmes à résoudre en fait, en permanence. Avec une difficulté physique permanente aussi. Bon voilà, ce qui fait que c'est un raid à part.
Seagate is just getting to Buse Beach, ready for their last canoeing section of the race, this time on the Mediterranean Sea.
Pretty happy, yeah. Pleased to be at the water, finally.
Disappointed by their 3rd place in Tasmania due to a 4-hour penalty, Seagate got it right this year, prevailing in the World Championship 2012 after 125 hours 40 minutes racing. Their last night, however, was painful and rough, in particular for Nathan Fave in the Vallée des Merveilles hike. Nonetheless, the New Zealander quartet managed to finish the race with a win just before noon at Carnot Beach in Roquebrune, Cap Martin.
Oh yeah, thank you very much.
At the same time, Toul are on their bikes and getting close to Roquebrune Cap Martin. Last hike for the reigning world champions in the suburbs of Roquebrune Cap Martin. Toul tried their best to hold their title, but must content themselves with 2nd place, 3 hours 37 minutes behind Seagate, after chasing them since the 2nd hiking section. Silver, last year's Vice World Champions, put the finishing touches to the Scandinavian triumph with 3rd place, 1 hour behind Toul. This ranking is the result of long-term efforts. Disadvantaged by the first cut-off on the Durance River, the Swedish team made up nearly 6 hours to catch up with the leading pack and climb onto the 3rd step of the podium. Quechua, still fighting for the podium, had to give up a few kilometers away from the finish line due to a bad fall on the bikes. A huge disappointment for this big-hearted team. The first French team is Raid Light Canoe Evasion, 3 hours behind Silver. With a strong race, they managed to climb to 4th place in this very competitive World Championship. During the night, the French teams Vibram La Fuma and Raid Light LSN will get to the finish line, taking the 5th and 6th places. Raid in France will carry on until Saturday 2 p.m. for a large number of teams. This will conclude 8 days of racing. 47 teams crossed the finish line. 15 of them covered the entire course, that is to say the 475 kilometers between L'Argentière-la-Bessée and Roquebrune Cap Martin.
c'était à chaque fois des images et des souvenirs incroyables, des lacs d'altitude magnifiques. Et au-delà de l'effort, hein, c'est vraiment ça, quoi, l'aventure. Hein, l'aventure humaine, d'équipe, et puis personnelle, puisqu'on dépasse ses limites. Et dépasser ses limites comme on l'a fait, c'est un super sentiment de satisfaction, quoi.
On our own race and not worry about the other teams, which we didn't really at all. And it was just about the four of us getting through the course as quickly as we could. And I think we can look back on our race and be really proud of what we've achieved.
We had so many amazing moments. France is such a beautiful country. It's my first time here and I was just constantly blown away with the environment that we were in. It was amazing.
Après c'était génial parce que y avait du vrai rafting où on était vraiment des barreurs, on n'avait pas quelqu'un qui nous dirigeait. On est passé sur glacier.
I want to remember all the beautiful places. It's been a lot of beautiful places and also a lot of fun disciplines we have done. A very fun rafting section, a via ferrata, canyoning, a lot of fun things.
Enfin, on a eu des vrais VTT techniques, on n'a pas porté plus que ce qu'il fallait. Donc c'était cool. C'était un beau tracé, c'était technique, donc on s'est bien fait plaisir.
Yeah, I think one of the toughest was we didn't expect on some of the sections that they should be so technical. And one section we thought this one will be over in just 1 hour. It took us 3 hours because it was climbing and it was more canyoneering than just running.
Cette belle aventure à 4, quoi. C'est ça qui est formidable dans les raids, c'est cette aventure à 4 qu'on vit, quoi, jour et nuit. Il n'y a rien de plus collectif que ça, quoi. S'il y en a un qui va pas bien, il faut absolument être avec lui, quoi. Sinon tout s'arrête, quoi.
I've also really enjoyed. I've been adventure racing for over 10 years, and when I first started, it was a lot of the top teams, the French teams with Pascal and many of the other athletes, and it's been great seeing a lot of them around this week as well.